Please welcome Jeremyville and Megan Mayer from Studio Jeremyville.
Hello, how are you? Hi everyone, how's it going? I hope all of you can understand our strange Australian accents. Yes? Anyone from Australia here? No, no one. Oh my gosh. Oh, a few.
I think I saw one hand.
Saw one
Hi.
hand.
So we've actually come to be introduced to Threadless through a really awesome project, which is our community service announcements. And
Oh, actually, so from here, I think what we should do is have off the house lights, yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
So the community service announcements really started out as a grassroots project. In fact, we had no aims for it whatsoever except for just a purely creative exercise, very grassroots level. And we originally explored this through Facebook, just coming up with a couple of drawings and putting it online. So let's talk about why it's called community service announcements. And for us, it's about the important things in life that are often brushed aside in society. So things like good manners, trust, friendship, politeness, empathy, kindness to strangers. And you can see from here some of the ones that almost, some of these...
Actually, the other one over there, I think, ended up on a shirt.
It did. It ended up on the
Threadless
Threadless t-shirt. Live with two eyes open. And we'll take you through some of the others that we have here.
Let's,
Stay true.
Oh.
Yeah. Do fewer things and do them better.
Yeah,
I think.
and actually almost all of them I find, I try and find some of my own answers as to who I am as an individual on this earth. And here it was all about, I think I had heaps on in my intro, and I was ending up sort of all over the place. And I thought it's actually easier to only have a handful of things and execute each of those excellently. So I think on the hunt for who I am and answers I'm hunting for, hopefully others can empathise as well. You know, if you're having your own experiences as well of that. And then I think there's some other ones here. Yeah, here's one.
Spend some time in each other's skin.
And so, like, I often actually play off icons out there and just add some other sort of elements into it as well.
Yeah.
And some of these.
Love difference and don't use others to get ahead.
Yeah.
A lot of these are just personal experiences that we've gone through as well, but we understand that a lot of you out there relate to it also. So maybe let's actually talk about the very beginnings of how we came up with the first idea for a community service announcement.
I think the actual first incident that occurred, I have a friend called Howard, or Oscar, well I actually called him Oscar, but he's actually Howard. He would often end up on his iPhone and he'd be emailing or SMSing as I was there trying to interact with him at evenings out. And I thought, it's an interesting trend in our earth and our age, how individuals are absorbed on the iPhone and just in this other headspace and aren't being able to be in the instant. And so I thought, I'll have an artwork that could somehow find an answer for what I was trying to overcome in this instance. And the artwork I ended up with...
Stop texting and start connecting.
And after I had that one, all true, after I had that one, I added it on the internet, onto FB, I think, and in the AM, I had heaps of input from all friends and other people. And I thought, okay, that's an interesting exercise as to how others out there also can understand the concerns I was having. So, and then I just drew a few others as well. Then here was one about officers.
Live free, range instead.
And I sort of had these little hens at their computer with a little egg as an email. Over there. And I thought, well, you know, hopefully others out there who are in these average offices all afternoon, all from 8 until 8 can empathise as well from that. And I had heaps of input from that one. And then I just ended up just in this endless area of being able to draw hundreds of them.
I mean, it just really kept on growing. And the wonderful thing about putting it on Facebook is the community gave us their feedback and interacted and shared and had conversations. And we knew that there was so much more to say and communicate. So they now are daily messages that you will actually create and draw and put online for others to share.
And so like in the end, I think I just like was actually trying to understand who I am, and here I was having a hard afternoon, and I thought, well, you know, I'm an egg, and I'm actually scrambled, and if I could somehow interact with some of my friends who aren't scrambled, I can perhaps have an answer. So I had that one up there, and then this is about a friendship as well, and this is about having extra hours on your hands for who you are. Having some actual hours that you can put into you. And then here's one as well about being able to
Live your
pursue
daydream.
some of your own aims, I think. And there's an office in here as well, I think.
So it's almost like being a songwriter and writing lyrics, and you're putting your experiences into the point of view of someone else and what they're actually going through. In fact, I often think of you as being like a songwriter or a musician, and your artwork are like writing lyrics and putting imagery to those particular words.
Well, it's all, sure. I think it's about being able to, empathize. And I think if you have empathy in art, then hopefully you can have others who can enter into your headspace as well.
Yeah. And this quote up here, I think, says a lot about the art in general, which is have something to say and say it simply. So that you have that true essence of communication through the art and the words.
And here I think there's some other ones. I'll just flick through them. Actually, this is about an animal that we, those...
Yeah, Find Yourself is inspired by our experiences of walking in the Lower East of New York City, and funnily enough, there are a lot of missing pet posters, more often in the Lower East than anywhere else in Manhattan. But we thought it was kind of neat because it's like a pet looking for itself. It's like find yourself, which often happens in big cities. You can get a little bit lost.
And here are some other ones that actually play off icons that exist.
Haters just need a hug.
Yeah, don't forget who you
And unzip your sadness and breathe. And just a really simple one. Let's hang out.
Yeah, it's just like an uncomplicated, I think. There wasn't anything in that one.
And some of these are more inspirational, and others are just like, don't let the years slip away, and take a risk and explore. This one's great because by this stage we've probably done about 150, and it's Mr. Internet sucks up our time.
Yeah, I think he was up to about 300, I think, if I'm rocking. And it's okay to be you, it's okay to be me.
Yeah. And don't let electronics come between us.
Actually, that's for us from our own experience.
That's our personal experience, actually.
Yes.
Having laptops in the bed.
Yes, evil. And so I have those. Obviously, there's only a handful of them. Here's how they first end up. Okay, so I actually I draw all the time. And I think one of the things that's easy to draw on is aeroplanes. So I'm often in the air and flying, and I draw them. So from LA to the East Coast, I'll draw like, say, 100. And of the 100, only a handful of them actually end up as end artworks. But I have an archive of all of these that I've had for ages, and I access them every once in a while, open them up, alter them, actually change them around, and it's either an icon first or an expression. So as you can see over there, I have a little expression, but I haven't as yet ended up with an icon.
So it's an expression that you may not be able to read it from where you are. It says, plan your life's moves carefully. So you're yet to arrive at an image for that. Yeah. You're looking for the next flight back to New York to complete that square.
Yeah. So, I mean, it helps to have these because I think if you just have anything that's in your head out there, afterwards you're able to analyze it, I think, and actually alter it.
Yeah.
So I think that's about those ones.
It's a very loose and creative process, and I think the art of it is not to think too hard about it. It's being very free form and thinking about your own experiences, and it's really very quickly putting ink to paper and having that flow of the creative process, so you're not analysing it too much.
Yeah.
And that way I feel that the essence of the truth of what you're trying to say is said simply and easily.
Yeah, and also, often I'm asked about sort of inspiration. It's actually endless. I think all these community service announcements, it's an endless exercise. I don't see any instance at which I wouldn't execute them. I wouldn't actually draw them. So I'd say I have about 1,800 of the ones up here. And of the 1,800, say 800 have actually ended up as artworks. So I have an extra, I don't know how many is that, an extra 1,200 or something that I could alter or add to, So, and then what's that say?
So it's kind of nice to share the quote, which is, a simple drawing looks easy to draw, but it's actually quite hard. It's an exercise in only including essential lines. It's about knowing when to stop, and the less that's in a drawing, the more it has to say.
So it's as if, I suppose, the essence of that is that each artwork ought to be as empty. I actually try and have it as empty as I'm able to. So I only include the elements that have to end up in there to explain the actual essence of it. Mm-hmm. And I think if you have that emptiness, others out there, others in on the internet or anywhere can enter into it. It's almost like an entree in. Yeah. You have a key that you can open up and add some of your own experiences into.
It's important that it's open for interpretation, and others can actually take it into their own life experience and see how it's relevant to them. And then the communication and the dialogue continues. And the wonderful thing about having it on the internet is that people share it, and it just becomes this beautiful conversation that is continued to share amongst many. And it'll go from one person to 20 to 100 to 1,000. And that's what's exciting for us, is that we can actually share our work in a very beautiful, simple way to the community.
It's as if also, I think the artwork is incomplete. It's almost half complete, and it's only after it's out there and others have sort of owned it and it's entered into other people's hearts, it's complete.
Yes, when they make that connection,
and
they make it theirs, that it feels complete.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and I think, and I explored the earlier artworks I had, and I think I've always explored an icon and some English and expression. And I think one of the first things I ever drew early on in our career is this one there.
Stay furry.
And it's all almost ended up like the icon, I think, of our office.
It has.
Art space, our studio.
It's become our little mascot and our expression. It's all about individuality and being true to who you are.
Yeah.
Jeremy is actually quite furry.
I am quite furry, but
I don't. The silhouette is.
It's hair, but I think it's also about ending up at your true essence and ending up as unconstrained. I think as unconstrained as you can be on this earth. So what's next? Okay, so here's how an artwork will actually evolve. So here's the first artwork of an aeroplane that I drew in the sketchbook. It's an individual inside himself or herself, and he's observing outwards. And I thought, well, it'd be interesting to see that outside of him as apprehensions and concerns and issues.
It's like an exterior that's almost, it's getting in the way, but he's inside of himself and getting in touch with the inner self.
Yeah, and so after I had that, I thought it'd be good on that outer self to add areas. So I've added I think concerns or old. Anyway, so it's fears, habits.
Routine, all the things that you have to actually break out of that's stopping you from moving forward. There's a little human inside of you that just wants to break out.
Yeah. And so after I had, and then I ended up with the end result there. And then after I have the artwork, I end up in Illustrator. I just put that into Illustrator and I outline it, and then I add the infills, the inks into that. And here's the end result.
And if you actually see at the top, there's a happy little accident, but through the exploration of where the typography is sitting, through the word habits, the I and the T becomes the leg, so it actually continues.
And the E is his hair, is almost his hair, up there. So I think even though each of these artworks are quite sort of, there isn't heaps in it, I try and hopefully it has got heaps in there that you're able to construe and observe.
There's certainly simplicity in there, but there is complexity, and it really is up to you and what you want to read out of it.
And here are some other ones. I think I had that one earlier, Stay True, and these ones, sort of a puzzle. I think this one about the earth. I've also been trying to include other elements in there as well.
So the execution of it's changed. What's really interesting, you go from a sketch and idea, and then you finesse it and finalise it once it's scanned and coloured up. But I like the way that also we're exploring areas which is the dot screens, so it's another form of execution. And then over here, it made more sense to have a photographic image of the moon that would bring into that communication. And this one really it sums up the community service announcements. It's almost a CSA about a CSA. And it's, let's advertise the important things in life. If all the billboards in town for one day or 1 month could actually communicate and express all the important things in life, such as love, hope, good manners, keep your word. And this really, to us, is our little campaign for the community service announcements. Imagery and marketing and advertising is very powerful. And for us, if we can have this project as a way to communicate what we believe are important messages. So this sums up.
It's as if I think the advertising industry is excellent at being able to advertise.
Yeah.
Like for hair care or airplanes. I think if you can somehow have elements of the power of advertising and have that in art to help actually change us as individuals, I think that's the essence and the overall aim of this whole project.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's that say? We
consider each community service announcement like a giant billboard, selling things like self-empowerment, personal growth, and human virtue. And the power of advertising as a communication tool is harnessed to sell the aim of becoming a better person, rather than selling a product.
Yeah, so that's, I suppose, the overall essence of the art and the actual approach to the community service announcements. Okay, and then I think we also have classes.
So this, to us, is really important. Beyond the Facebook in the internet world, we wanted to take it into the real world, and we speak at a lot of conferences, and we're invited to go down to Argentina and South America, and we're given the opportunity to run a community service announcements workshop, which was the most satisfying experience. So we had about 150 people in a room, and we taught them the tools of how we come up with a community service announcement so that they themselves individually can think about their own experiences and have a message that's important to them that they want to share with others. So these are just some of the ones that came out of that session. It was about an hour session.
And the aim, I think, isn't to end up with an excellent artwork or an awesome artwork. No. It's to express anything that's in you.
Yep. It's your own story. You don't have to be an amazing illustrator or an artist. But what is incredible about some of these is that at the end of it, it was the most amazing bonding experience. We'd all expressed our personal stories and were able to put it on paper. And the class is just full of love and hugs and happiness.
Everyone hugged.
And there are so many genius ideas in this. And some people said, I've never drawn before. I've never actually put words on paper. So they're able to achieve something quite outstanding.
It's as if it's almost like it's anti-art. It isn't art. It's all about being able to, I think, express who you are. And I think that's the essence of what art is. I think that it's all about being able to enter inwards and understand who you are. It's an opening. It's a tool to access all of us.
Completely, yeah. I mean, for us, we also see it working in any language. It's for the every person, for any country, for any form of, society. So beyond that, we've taken it into exhibition environments. This is at the Brooklyn Brothers Gallery in Union Square, New York.
And
then we've done stickers all around New York and Brooklyn.
I also have a whole crew that I'm exploring with to actually expand on the urban art aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think it ought to end up out there, I think.
Definitely.
On the streets.
Taking it outside of the internet.
Yeah.
And then this is a really special project. We're invited to Ferrara, which is a small little medieval town in Italy. And they, in the last 12 months prior to October when we ended up there, the town had a massive earthquake. So the mayor invited us to put all these paste-ups of our community service announcements inside the interior walls of a medieval castle so that we could spread some positive messages to the people in the town. So we ended up with over 1,000 paste-ups, and it was amazing because we were concerned that the language would get in the way, but the people that stood in front of these paste-ups were little kids to parents to teenagers, and language just was not a barrier. So it was a really amazing experience to see people respond to it. And then this is from the Jeremyville Raw, which is a monthly newspaper that we design and print and distribute for free around New York City and Brooklyn. Again, it's another community project, and we always have community service announcements in there.
Yeah, it's up to like issue 8, I think, and
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent opportunity to hand them out. So it ends up in anyone's hands. It's
Yeah.
for free. It's for anyone to own. And
This
I've-
one
I've
here
seen-
is Build Your Oasis. Living in New York City, it's all about having your own oasis. I know in Chicago you've got plenty of beautiful grass and grounds and open blue skies.
It's a whole
but yeah,
heap of them.
They're just
holding up
about to go
hand
out.
And I've actually heard from others who have them at home and they hang them up on their
Yeah.
in their homes actually,
And they become
on their
posters.
walls. And
And that's a continuation of them.
here,
This
this is like the area
Yeah.
it's in.
So where all the
and
blue dots are is where the Jeremyville Raw papers are. And inside each one, without fail, we'll have community service announcements.
And also hand them out as well. I'm actually
Yeah.
on the streets
Yeah.
almost every afternoon, just handing them out to anyone who's interested.
That
in
kind
them.
of looks like Jake from Threadless. That's not you,
Jake?
is it?
No, he's handsome.
Just anonymously
He's
in the
more
background.
handsome. And we also have this other little instrument
So
that we
cycle,
use
hot summer days, do a little distribution.
with ice cream. Yeah.
And this is for an environmental event in Washington Square Park. So we brought our messages along to support that particular event. Again, it's just putting it out in the community. And this is our first experiment for what they would look like on apparel. Again, kind of a cool idea that people would be walking around with these messages on their back or on the front of their t-shirt.
Although for here, I thought it'd be interesting to only just have it on the inside.
Yeah.
So it's only as a little exploration.
It's a little discovery.
Yeah, yeah. As opposed to like an obvious, you know, artwork.
It's your hiking jacket.
Yeah. and of course, yes.
And finally, we have
Threadless.
Threadless Community Service Announcements t-shirt, which was an awesome project.
Oh, yeah.
We love working with you
Fantastic.
guys on this one. And
Yes, it was great.
Craig looks a little confused
Craig-
about why he's wearing this t-shirt.
Well, yeah.
But
funny.
like today, with the connections of the technical side things, stuff happens.
And over
Yeah.
here are our own shirts
Yeah.
as well. So some
Let's
our
Scribble.
humble efforts.
Walk happy.
Our humble efforts at
Yeah.
being able to apply art onto shirts.
Yeah. Get free.
free.
Let nature unwind us. Eat more vegetables.
Hey, just need a heart.
Yeah. So these have been really fun. It's been a great exercise in sharing it, and especially for us, the community service announcements is all about the online community and sharing it with people and taking it into the real world. So it's a very similar philosophy to
It's a
Threadless.
hand. Whose hand's that? I don't know. Someone's hand.
You've stabbed yourself
And
into
here's
your own
the-
nightclub.
Yes, and here's like the overview, I suppose, or the aim, the essence of it.
So it's to connect with it and with anyone on earth on a very personal level, and it really is just a quiet moment of contemplation in our busy day.
Okay.
So what we thought we'd do is actually share with you a community service announcements, a little mini movie, more like gifts from one of our favourite bands, The National, and then afterwards we'll do some Q&As with Jess.
Okay.
So,
So hopefully it'll play.
yeah,
Okay,
enjoy.
here we go.
Stay out super late tonight, picking apples, making pies. Put a little something in our lemonade and take it with us. We're half awake in a fake empire. We're half awake in a fake empire. Tiptoe through our shiny city with our diamond slippers on. Do our gay ballet nights, bluebirds on our shoulders. We're half awake in a fake empire. while.